Presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
I'm Monica Ricks in New York. Former President Trump's legal team is expected to revise its filing to stop the feds from reviewing documents seized from Mar-a-Lago. This as the National Archives reveals what it recovered there earlier this year. CBS's Stephen Portnoy reports.
A letter released by the National Archives has the top official at that agency writing to a Trump lawyer in early May, rejecting any executive privilege claim that the former president might make to prevent the FBI from reviewing documents he stored at Mar-a-Lago. In the words of acting archivist Deborah Wall, the question in this case is not a close one. The letter also notes more than 100 documents with classified markings were found inside the 15 boxes that Trump voluntarily turned over to the archives last January.
Primary voters are headed to polls in Florida and New York today, where two political titans are facing off thanks to redistricting.
For 30 years, Manhattan's east and west sides have been represented in Congress by two longtime allies, Jerry Nadler and Carolyn Maloney. But when their districts were combined, neither wanted to step aside.
Well, it's a shame that they have to go up against each other, but that's the way it works sometimes.
Voters say they did their research.
Seems to be some difference, but not a great difference. It's going to be close.
It's an all-out melee next door where a dozen Democrats are vying for an open seat spanning Manhattan and Brooklyn. Steve Burns for CBS News, New York.
There is light at the end of the tunnel now in Texas, where more rain is expected in the already flooded state.
The flood threat continues in portions of Louisiana and Mississippi, but the good news for Texas is that the rain is basically coming to an end.
CBS News meteorologist David Parkinson tells us some parts of Dallas have already clocked about 15 inches of rain. Two men have been convicted of plotting to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer in 2020. David Porter's with the FBI.
The defendants in this case believe that their anti-government views justified violence. Today's verdict is a clear example that they were wrong in that assessment.
That the men face life in prison. A former police officer has pleaded guilty in the Breonna Taylor case.
Federal prosecutors accused former Louisville Police Detective Kelly Goodlett of falsifying a warrant that led to the deadly police raid at Breonna Taylor's apartment in March of 2020. Taylor was shot to death by officers who knocked down her door while executing a drug search warrant.
CBS's Jim Krasula. The U.S. has pledged another $3 billion in military aid for Ukraine as its war there reaches the 6-month mark. The money will help train and equip Ukrainian forces for years. This is CBS News.
Well, that's today's news. I didn't hear any good news, did you? I didn't think so. I guess it's all about perspective. The glass is half full. Well, as always, I want to thank you again for coming along with me on these Dash Cam News adventures. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody.